Hello and welcome to a Quick Bob's vlog. It's Tuesday the 17th of March. I'm going to talk about coronavirus today because it's an important subject and it's going to really define a lot of what happens in Parliament and in politics in our country in the next few months, because it's going to impact on lots of people's lives. I'm going to divide them up into health. I'm going to talk about ferries and transport, and then about business, and then some other issues as well. So starting with health, we still very thankfully only have one coronavirus case on the island. We had one, but they were temporarily on the island and they've gone back to the mainland. So we're down to one case. The Secretary of State for Health, I asked him in Parliament yesterday about this, and he confirmed that they were looking at ways to support isolated and island communities and health centres there. And that's important because everybody in the UK right now needs to make sure, or needs access to the PPE, to the protective personal equipment, to alcohol gels, and to the other stuff which we need to help treat any potential cases of coronavirus on the island. So there is an issue with supply, and I made sure that the Secretary of State is not forgetting about isolated and island communities. I want to thank everybody in the NHS who works on the island. They're going to be quite busy potentially in the next few months, so I'm hugely grateful for their work. On a Monday I talked to the Chief Exec of the Islands NHS Trust to talk specifically about this issue, and to make sure that everything was in place, and to also ask what questions I needed to be asking of the government on behalf of the Trust on the Isle of Wight, because that's health. Ferries. I've spoken with both the major ferry, the two largest ferry companies, so Whitelink and Red Funnel today. Both are taking measures to protect their staff, including looking at shift patterns, and they're looking to build resilience into their schedule. In Parliament about 2 hours ago, I asked two things specifically. I wanted government to relax competition laws. They need to do that to allow the ferry companies to talk to each other and the council, so if there are issues with sickness amongst ferry staff, we can build a resilient network to make sure the ferries keep operating, so that people who need to get to the mainland for health treatments can do so, and make sure that we can get supplies onto the island. Secondly, I asked the government to press the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency to allow people to sit in cars when they're coming back or going to the mainland. Again, that is for people with immune issues, at-risk groups, and vulnerable, and the elderly as well. And I'm expecting action on both of those in the next 24 hours. Business, I've talked to a number of businesses, but also social enterprises and charities in the last few days. There is clearly a very, very significant issue with businesses, especially in hospitality and the visitor economy, simply not having the funds to continue. There's a major statement in 4 hours time from the Chancellor where he will address this, and myself and other people have been highlighting a number of concerns that have been brought to us. One, insurance companies not paying out for business interruption cover. Secondly, what happens with companies that are keeping trading, but whom government advises people not to use their services, like pubs and restaurants. What happens to them? Because they are not being closed down by government, but at the same time there is going to be a very considerable issue of cash flow as well. So we're expecting a significant response from the Chancellor in about 4 hours time, and I've been pursuing this matter over the last few days with ministers from Business Department, from the Treasury, and indeed from the Health Department as well, because we need a significant cross-government response to all these issues, whether it's ferries and transport, whether it's health, or whether it's the state of island business and national business as well. So that's all from me at the moment, but I'll be updating you regularly on this issue because it's a very important one. Finally, the advice. If you're elderly, look to stay at home more, and I think from this weekend you'll be asked to self-isolate for a period of weeks. It's really important because the serious infection rates for 70-year-old plus folks is much higher than for people under the age of 70. There's also issues for people with underlying health conditions. So please look after yourselves and follow the advice, which is on my Twitter feed, Facebook, and government sites as well as on the council site. So follow the advice and make sure you look after yourself and people around you. Thank you.